Hello and welcome. I'm Jodi Martin, the training coordinator for MVCC. Today, we're going to talk about building morale in a remote world. We have 3 learning objectives we're going to focus on. The first one is identify what remote means to your organization or your workplace. 2, develop a plan for a positive morale in your workplace. And 3, build a remote culture. What is a remote work environment? You are working outside of the office environment. You're executing projects and goals at a remote location. You have flexibility to design your day. And remote work is a working style. Remote does not need to be done in a specific place. It can be done anywhere, which is the glory of it. And it's a cultural paradigm shift. And what a cultural paradigm shift means depends on your environment and your workplace. How remote work benefits employees. You're able to create a flexible lifestyle, better health and wellness, renewed passion for jobs, higher productivity, cost savings, and engaged employees. Better health and wellness, according to Forbes, is being created because you're saving travel commute time. Oftentimes, travel time creates stress. You get stuck in traffic, you're running late for a meeting. It's also creating time for yoga, exercise, walk, maybe a book that you want to read because you're having those extra minutes in the morning or on your commute home. Also, higher productivity, according to the Business Daily, employees are working 1.4 more days a month because they're working from home and they're saving the travel time, the commuting, and things of that sort. And it's decreasing, obviously, in office expenses and fuel. And most importantly, many of us have become remote because of COVID-19, and it's creating safety and helping with the spread of the pandemic. What are some common misconceptions about a remote work style? Remote workers have trouble communicating. Remote workers not having the support from management. Remote workers are always on. Remote workers don't actually work. And research is suggesting that actually remote has become more directed and goal-oriented because when you do meet virtually, you are just meeting and you're discussing exactly what you had on your agenda and you're moving on. It's alleviating a lot of small talk. It has also created a culture to be more result-oriented rather than business hours. How many hours did you put in at the office this week? Remote is making it where you are just more orientated to get it done. And as I said, it alleviates the small talk. If you have currently been on a Zoom or in anything, if you notice at the very beginning, it's kind of like, hi, welcome. You might say who you are and you're right to what's on your agenda or what needs to be talked about that day. At the bottom of our YouTube link, we'll have a video, and it's a video conference call in real life. As you watch the video, just kind of see if there's a few things that you can totally relate to or that resonate with you. All right, after watching the video, thumbs up if you can relate to a few scenes in the video. As you watched it, we all know that this has become our norm and what we're currently living in. And the video was actually recorded in 2015. And so it is what was happening in 2015 during this video is now everybody's shade of normal if you're working remote. Building a remote culture. There are 6 steps that I've identified that one could follow to help build their remote culture. First and foremost, you must build trust. The trust needs to start at the top with leadership. Strong expectations need to be set. One needs to be proactive and promote participation. As we know, when the pandemic started, our world stopped almost overnight, and a lot of expectations were not set clearly. But due to the time that we've actually had to get used to working remote, now is the time to go back and make sure your expectations are clear. Teams that are emotionally connected can be vulnerable with one another because there is a baseline of safety and trust in a relationship. This means they're more willing to share that crazy idea or push back when they see something they don't agree with. So creating these 3 steps will help build trust and rapport within your organization. Number 2, communicate the mission and goals clearly. Make sure your missions and goals are clear. And most importantly, you need to revisit what your missions and goals were so that they connect with what's happening in the companies and the current situations of what's going on remotely. 3, be explicit about your work policy. Create a specific work policy so all employees are on board. Since you may not see the employees in person, you want policies to be clear and understood. Oftentimes, it may be clear to us, but if you haven't explicitly explained to your employees what you're looking for exactly, what your clear is and what their clear is don't always align. So make sure everything is clear and explicit. And listen to your employees when making changes to policies, etc. Your employees are actually the ones working the work, doing the work, so make sure your employees have input and listen to what they're telling you, because they may see something differently than how you're seeing something, or what you think is working may not be working. So be very clear and revisit that often. Number 4, define how you work together. Set a clear process for collaboration and communication. Acknowledge the work styles. Promote a personality assessment. Write personal narratives. Maybe write personal narratives and have them saved on a Google Sheet or somewhere where everybody can revisit those. Because when you aren't seeing people daily, you might be missing something that's going on in their life, or you might not know something about them that you would need to know, just to help build this collaboration and rapport. And a personality assessment will help you and everybody involved understand a person differently, or why they're doing what they're doing. You must provide time and face-to-face, whether you're meeting at a coffee shop. Humans need that connection, so make sure you have a space for that. And be clear and specific in what meaningful work is. Again, as a leader or a supervisor, what is clear to you is not always clear to your employees, so be very specific in what your meaningful work looks like. Reflect often. Also, during this process of defining what work looks like, there's a lot of hiring and onboarding still going on, so make sure that you set your goals and expectations for what onboarding is going to look like in a remote world, and so all expectations, everything is clear and everybody understands. 5th, collect feedback regularly. This culture of constructive feedback will help you and make your employees feel like they're safe to speak their minds and be heard. 4 reasons to conduct a survey. It uncovers answers, it evokes discussion, baseline decisions on objective information, and you can compare results. Uncovering answers. In a very non-intimidating survey, you will learn about what motivates your people and who is working for you. Their opinions become more meaningful, their comments become more meaningful. The discussion piece. This gives opportunity to discuss important key topics, and it becomes more clear what people are looking for or asking for. And base decisions on objective information. This is allowing you not to waste time and to use your resources, and comparing results is a good way for you to understand where everybody is. Maybe one person is feeling differently, so you can compare what's happening in your work spot. Survey types. There's many survey types. I've given you 3. Google Forms are great, SurveyMonkey, and just simple reflections work great to help you understand where people are coming from. Number 6, Find creative ways to engage your people. Very commonly, hosting a virtual happy hour has been one. Another one is just a breakfast section. Maybe have coffee together, morning coffee, morning drinks. Exchange photos of your pets, favorite places that you've liked to visit, just to keep that conversation going and keep engaged with one another. Another good one would be to create a mentorship program, especially if you're going through onboarding. You may want to pair somebody new to the organization with a more senior, more seasoned employee. Team building games, if you Google that, there's all kinds of internet games that can be played to help keep rapport going and keep that conversation going. It's very important to establish a consistent routine. So maybe Mondays are you're having coffee just to kind of recap after the weekend and meet up quickly. Every day of the week, if you could come up with some sort of routine, that way everybody's on board. Provide a water cooler conversation weekly. The term water cooler conversation originated with small talk at the water cooler. You know, you're in the break room, you're grabbing a coffee, you're grabbing something, you have that small chit chat. To be virtually creative, create something to kind of keep that going, where you have informal Zooms or you meet just informally to create that small chit chat. As I indicated earlier, with meetings in Zoom, it's like everybody's like, hi, hey, how are you? You might go around and introduce yourself and you're right to the agenda, you're right into the topic, you're right into your meeting. So the modern world of Zoom and virtual has kind of alleviated that small chit chat. So just be creative and make sure you keep that established in your work environment. As I mentioned, daily routines. Another daily thing could be every Tuesday you send out a quote or an e-card, or maybe you have a circle of people and I, Jodi, am going to send every Tuesday Jenny an e-card, a coworker. Come up with just routines and get those established. Most importantly, be creative in how you create ways to keep your people engaged. Maybe conduct a small survey. Maybe other people have ideas that you're not thinking about. Google them. If you Google search, tons of information is coming up. But again, most importantly, if you are just creative with your own staff and what your own people are looking for, you might come up with some super creative ideas. Okay, how do we build this remote culture and keep it? Most importantly, you must start with a plan. So create your plan. Identify what's important to your remote environment. Every environment, every organization has a different culture, so you need to identify what's important to your environment. Start small and grow your plan. Maybe start with a few of these ideas and just grow it eventually to where you want it to be. As I had mentioned earlier, revisiting your goals, your missions, and making sure everything is aligned. This is a perfect time to start small and grow your plan. Maybe do a 30, 60, 90-day calendar. The first 30 days we're going to do this. In 60 days we want to be here, and in 90 days we want to be here with what our virtual plan looks like. And lastly, identify your strategies for implementation. Again, that would go with a 30, 60, 90-day plan maybe. What is your strategies and how is that going to work? And also identify who your who is, who's going to roll out that part of your virtual plan. And lastly, use all stakeholders. Make sure everybody has input. That will make your organization feel like everybody is involved, if everybody's input is seen and heard, and that could be part of your plan too. In 30 days, this group's going to be, the next 90 days or 60 days, we're going to put this group in, and just so everybody has buy-in into your plan. Okay, lastly, reflect. Maybe just in your mind, on a piece of paper, your tablet, your phone, whatever. This is called the 3-2-1 strategy. So identify 3 things you learned or never thought about just in this quick overcap of building a remote culture. 2 things you can implement immediately. So these are 2 things I'm going to take back immediately to the table and get them executed out. And 1 thing that you still have questions about or may have some confusion about building your positive morale in a remote world. So I'll just give you a couple minutes to do your 3-2-1 strategy. This is a great strategy for anything, but right now just kind of reflect back on just a few things that stuck out to you, some ahas. Coming together is a beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. And that is a quote from Henry Ford. And as we move forward in this remote world that we're living in and working in, which has become our shade of normal, this is a quote that everybody can kind of relate to and put together, because it is the beginning, and working together is the success of what we are looking for. Lastly, I have a survey. If you take out your phones and open it to your picture of your phone and hold it up, it will take you to our survey. If you could complete that, I love feedback. Constructive criticism is always good because it helps me better know what you're looking for. So take a minute to take that survey. I would appreciate it. I hope you find one or two things beneficial that you can take back to your organization or your company and use. I'm Jodi Martin, the training coordinator for MVCC. Thank you.